I guess just the thing that really appealed to us that everyone just sees in him is the forgiveness, that, you know, whatever the rough patch that he went through, it's not even on his radar any longer.
The story of Indiana Bones is both heartbreaking and inspiring at the same time. When he came to the Cleveland APL as a 7-month-old puppy, he was covered in cuts and scrapes and was unable to stand, much less walk. And the circumstances around how he came to be with us were horrifying. Indiana Bones was hit by a car, and then, when he was laying in the road, unable to move, a witness reported seeing 3 men taking turns, kicking and beating him with sticks and bricks. A fate not wished upon any living being, let alone the sweet soul that was Indy. Cleveland Animal Care and Control sent him to a veterinary clinic where he was kept comfortable for the duration of his stray holding period. As soon as his holding time was up, Indiana Bones was transferred to the Cleveland APL for care. Upon Indy's arrival, our entire team took action. Our veterinary team examined him and performed diagnostic tests to determine the best way to treat his injuries, while our humane investigations team began searching for the cruel men who would stoop to beating a critically injured dog.
Authorities need your help finding the people who beat and kicked a dog.
Along the way, the story of Indiana Bones was picked up by local news media, and people all around Northeast Ohio and beyond rallied behind him, donating much-needed funds for the extensive medical care he would require. Everyone was pulling for this poor, battered pup. Indy's injuries were extensive. Thanks to the support of the community, we were able to send him to Dr. James Vogt, an orthopedic specialist, for further evaluation. Dr. Vogt confirmed our team's findings. Poor Indy had a dislocated hip on one side, a fractured hip on the other, a dislocated knee, and a broken tibia bone. He would require several surgeries, followed by extensive rehabilitation. Dr. Vogt's first priority was to repair the hip and knee on Indy's right side. And then once he was fully recovered from that surgery, he would fix his other hip. Indiana Bones now required intensive rehabilitation. He went into foster care at the Northeast Reintegration Center, where he had 24-hour-a-day attention. Dr. Allison Lash, the Cleveland APL's head of veterinary services, also made arrangements for Indy to receive therapy and rehabilitative care at the Dancing Paws Animal Wellness Center with Dr. Neil Cibula. Indiana. Indy was lovingly escorted to and from his appointments by a team of devoted APL volunteer chauffeurs.
He sustained some pretty severe injuries during his incident. So we started with him with some chiropractic and some massage. Eventually it worked into using our underwater treadmill, in which he really responded to. And he's done so well that Dr. Vogt felt that he really didn't need to have a separate surgery on that left hip. So we're really kind of put it on the back burner. I don't think he's going to need it, and he's done very well without it.
Those first couple weeks, we saw such a transformation in him. He really opened up and his personality came through, and he was able to rebuild the function in that leg so remarkably well. I mean, we weren't even sure if he was going to be able to keep the limb. We didn't know if an amputation was down the line, and so our long-term projections for him changed really quickly because of how well he had done.
He was a skinny little thing with a great heart. It's just over those 3 or 4 weeks how much he filled out. I mean,
yes.
He gained 10 pounds, he got a lot of treats, but he also, with all the time he spent in the treadmill, and he's pulled on a lot of muscle.
We all knew Indy would need a very special home. His injuries were so severe, and his left hip would require ongoing monitoring. If only we could be certain that Indy would be able to continue the therapy that had been so successful and would reduce the chance that he would face more challenges and surgery down the road. You've probably guessed where this story is going. During Indy's visits to Dancing Paws for treatment, Dr. Civila and his wife Stephanie fell madly in love with this charming and goofy pup. He had gone through so much in his very short life, and they had shared such a critical part of his journey down the road to recovery. The Civilas even fostered him during the later stages of his therapy. There was something about this sweet dog that had wiggled into their hearts and wouldn't let go.
He's got such a silly little prance to him when he's got a toy or when he knows that people are watching him. He loves to play keep away. He's just so full of energy and life and happiness. He's equal parts bouncy and cuddly. You know, when he wants to play, he's all over and he's silly, and then when it's time to wind down, he's happy to snuggle up on the couch and rest his head on us. I think the level of forgiveness and compassion and just willingness to embrace life despite everything he suffered, he's a good lesson for all of us. In spite of everything that he's endured, he never cowers, he's never afraid of new people. And I loved when we took him back to the APL to sign his adoption papers, he recognized every single person who'd been there along the way.
Today, Indiana Bones has a lifetime membership at the gym at Dancing Paws. He has doting parents who just adore him and are experts in his ongoing care. He has feline siblings who aren't always as excited to play with him as he is with them. And a new canine sister named Lorna, who is his mirror image and a completely perfect match. He even has his own Facebook page. And yes, a new name for this new chapter in his life, James. Although Indiana Bones is still his stage name.
It's just mind-blowing, all of the things that happened along the way, and the hundreds of thousands probably of people that know his story, and the folks that donated to the APL Second Chance Fund that made all of this possible. The level of caring that surrounded his story and giving is just incredible, just incredible.
As tough as his story has been, we talked about how there are a lot of animals at the APL and shelters who have really suffered some horrific things, and so something about his story certainly resonated with people, but he's not the exception, he's the rule of dogs and cats who have been through some really gnarly stuff and come home to make amazing house pets. And so talking about him being an ambassador, we've used him as a kind of microphone to encourage folks. You can have your own. You can have your own Indiana Bones.
When Indiana Bones first came to the APL, injured, beaten, and abused, it was hard to comprehend the unthinkable cruelty he had endured. And yet, this sweet soul only wanted to love and be loved. During his journey while in our care, he reminded us about the healing power of forgiveness and trust. We never could have dreamed of his most perfect happily ever after.